We are expecting the Chancellor's procession any minute from now. And as you wait for the Chancellor's procession, remember this is the 9th graduation ceremony. Our theme is the role of the 21st century graduate in catalyzing job creation. Our Chancellor is Professor Wells Woolson. Chairman Board of Trustees is Dr. Simon Gisharu. The Vice Chancellor is Professor Stanley Waudo. Chairman of Council, Professor Grace Njoroge. Vice Chairman of Council, Dr. Vincent Gaido. Our Deputy Vice Chancellors are Professor Evans Kerosi, DVC Coordination of Constituent Colleges, Centers and Campuses; Peter Waweru, DVC Finance Administration and Planning; Professor John Deritu, DVC Linkages and Resource Mobilization; Professor Chege Mungai, DVC Student Welfare, Alumni and Marketing Affairs; Madam Vivienne Waiganjo, DVC Academic and Research Affairs; and Dr. Ronald Maadai, Registrar Academic Affairs; Victoria Mnyao, University Librarian. As we wait for the Chancellor's procession, we'll have one more entertainment. One more entertainment as we wait for the Chancellor's procession. Christine Kanyiva Mwangangi, your ID is here. One number is coming from the boys' choir.
Maladie pas souci, jalousie, maladie déjà mourir. Jaloux, jaloux, maladie pas souci, jalousie, maladie déjà mourir. Bam bam, bam bam. Jalousie de blaster. Jalousie d'endémie. Jalousie de pacolo. Watalai mapa omene, watalai mapa omene. Kosa boy sikila, koso sita, kosa boy sikila, koso sita. Pam pam, pam tiri tiri tiri. Jalousie, maladie les gens
Mount Kenya University Band leading the procession.
Coming in now with the Chancellor's procession. Musimame tuwakaribishe hawa kwa shangwe. Our very own band, Mount Kenya University Band, leading the team. On the procession is our chief guest, Honorable Eugene Wamalwa, our guest speaker, Professor David Morgan Brown, the chairman of the Board of Trustees, Dr. Simon Gicharu, the Chancellor, Professor Wells Woolson, the Vice Chancellor, Professor Stanley Waudo, Chairman, Vice Chairman, and members of Council, Mount Kenya University, Deans, HODs, and various senior staff coming in style. This is the team that has steered Mount Kenya University to greater heights as we scale the heights of education. Our 6 strategic pillars are teaching and learning, research and innovation, infrastructure, staff and student welfare, community service, linkages, and resource mobilization. Today, we are proud to present 6,147 graduates, 6,147 graduates, of which we have 5 PhDs, 256 masters, 3,515 bachelors, 76 postgraduate diplomas, 1,746 diploma, and 549 certificates. Mount Kenya is celebrating several achievements this year. 1, we have partnered with a total of 6 universities in the United Kingdom, in addition to the others that we already have existing links. 2, Mount Kenya University earned the largest research grant award of 0.15 billion Kenya shillings to promote research and innovation. 3, we have partnered with Oracle and IBM to ensure that we provide quality services. 4, one of our staff members, a female, managed to become the Tech Women Emerging Leader. And we are proud, number 5, that several staff members of Mount Kenya University have won several research grants that have contributed to the solving of pertinent problems in our society. Number 6, we are proud to recognize the fact that one of our students participated in the recently concluded UNESCO Youth Summit, where they made significant contributions. Our students are committed, dedicated. Our staff are energetic and innovative. Feel most welcome as you come to Mount Kenya University. Our chief guest, Honorable Wamalwa, you are most welcome. Our guest speaker, Professor Brown, you are most welcome. Guests from Hargeisa, Rwanda, Makerere University, and other universities, you are most recognized. Distinguished guests, High Commissioners and Ambassadors, you are most welcome. Members of the national and county governments, you are welcome. And now, it is time for us, the Vice Chancellor, to be called upon. Before the Vice Chancellor, let us sing the national anthem. Thank you. National anthem, Wimbo wa Taifa. Mount Kenya University anthem, led by our students from Nakuru and Mombasa campuses. This anthem of the university clarifies our core values and our commitment to serving mankind and contributing to research and innovation.
The peak of academic endeavors, Mount Kenya University, a brighter shining star, shine and lead us through the paths of excellence. We are strongly committed to achieving a vision of excellence in whatever we do. Mount Kenya University will always be a leading center of excellence. Scaling the heights of education, scaling the heights of education, scaling the heights of education.
Perfect harmony and combination. Guests, you can get seated. I now call upon the Vice Chancellor to declare the Assembly a congregation of the 9th graduation ceremony of Mount Kenya University.
In accordance with the provisions of the Mount Kenya University Charter 2011, Section 6, subsections B and C, and as per the powers bestowed upon me by the University Senate, I hereby declare the congregation of the 9th graduation ceremony of Mount Kenya University constituted.
Madam Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to request you once again to stand for prayers. We will have first prayer from Father Raphael Wanjau, Chaplain, Mount Kenya University. Please, let's stand up for the prayer.
We begin our prayers in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Today we are gathered here for the university 9th graduation ceremony. We thank Almighty Father for the gift of Dr. Simon Gishalo and Madam Jim Nyoto, who inspired them to begin Mount Kenya University to scale the heights of education. Thank you, God, for the Board of Trustees, the administration, the faculty who have mentored and taught these graduates during their education at Mount Kenya University. We thank you, God, for their families and friends who have sacrificed a lot in support of their studies. Today, we pray for those who have met the challenge and kept the faith of commitment of their studies. Thank you, God, for the success of their education journey. We thank you for granting them focus, direction, strength, and endurance. Today, we also pray for tomorrow. This graduation opens another door to another time. Give them job opportunities to enable them to live what they have achieved through their studies. May the graduates be inspired also to create job opportunities to many future graduates. God bless these graduates. God bless their families and friends. God bless the staff of Mount Kenya University. God bless students of Mount Kenya University. God bless our beloved country, Kenya. We pray all this through Jesus Christ, our Lord.
We remain standing as we call upon Dr. Hamisi Wainaina, Muslim chaplain, to give us a prayer.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. In the name of Allah, the most compassionate, the most gracious, and the most merciful, all praises belong to Allah, the creator of the universe. May the special mercies of Allah and peace be on our Master Muhammad, who is the seal of all prophets. May Allah's mercy, peace be on his family, all his companions, and those coming until the day of judgment, who follows him dutifully. Indeed, all praise is for Allah. We praise him, repent to him, and seek his forgiveness and help. We seek refuge in Allah from the evil of our own selves and of our wicked deeds. Whomsoever Allah guides, none can lead astray, and whomsoever Allah leads astray, none can guide. And I bear witness that none has the right to be worshipped except Allah alone, and he has no partner. And I bear witness that our Prophet Muhammad is his slave and messenger. Almighty Allah, we thank you for making it possible for us to gather during this auspicious day of Mount Kenya University 9th graduation ceremony. Allah, we pray that you shower our gathering today with peace and abundant blessings. Allah, we pray that you guide and bless the graduates as they receive their different awards in various courses. Allah, give them victory and success as they move to their next phase in their lives. Bless all the earnings, gracing their hands from the knowledge acquired through this institution and their achievement today and beyond. Guide our graduates in this day as they celebrate their great contribution in this achievement. Allah, we put this university in your mighty hands, that you may continue to guide all of us in making our university a reference model in training, research, and innovation ahead of all others. We pray for the university leadership that you may continue to give them wisdom and inspiration to progress diligently in moving our institution to even greater heights. Grant all the stakeholders, partners, and all members of Mount Kenya University blessings for their tireless hard work in making this day a success and in their endeavor towards building and strengthening the university for the benefit of mankind. We sincerely thank you, Allah, for all this. We pray for this country. May peace, love, and harmony thrive within our borders. Guide our leaders, including President, Deputy Presidents, and all the other leaders. We thank you once again, Allah. Thee do we worship, and thee aid we seek. Show us the straight way, the way of those whom thou hast blessed your grace, those whose portion is not wrath, and who go no astray. Amen. Amen.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, there being no traditional prayer, let us take our seats. Thank you. It's our time now to have brief announcements. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, dear chief guests, distinguished graduates, it's time now to bring before you our students to give you a cocktail of entertainment.
Ladies and gentlemen, represent Nakuru campus to present a chorus, Viserema.
Ndio sisi tumefika, twajibwaga uwanjani. Wana Malenga toka chuo kikuu cha Mlima Kenya, tunaporomosha Viserema, Viserema, itakuwaje?
Tumevikwa sasa taji, raha tunayo moyoni, tachangia ukuaji wa maisha ya usoni. Ajira tatwataraji, siyo kuketi nyumbani, tutimize mahitaji tulanayo maishani.
Meziona stakabadhi, zimulizo tukabidhi, kwa kweli ni zenye hadhi, nasi tutazihifadhi, taziweka kwa aridhi, bila nyie kuwaudhi, tungeweza ngewakidhi, ila twaomba radhi.
Hisabati lifaulu, alama zinapendeza, kemia tukafaulu, darasani kutocheza. Salua tulifaulu, kazi tulitekeleza, twatumai tafaulu, ajira tatupokeza.
Hisabati lifaulu, alama kapata A, kemia mukafaulu, twaona lipata ba. Salua mulifaulu, hapo mukapata hapa mtafaulu bila experience.
Hiyo tutatoa wapi? Msipotupa nafasi, na tutaipata vipi? Sipopewa kandarasi, shule nilikuwa chopi, tena bila wasiwasi. Sasa haya ni ya wapi? Mbona experience?
Haya basi tulieni, mulipita mitihani.
Wow! kuimarisha. Elimu tulionayo, biashara taanzisha. Sasa ukitaki nao, ni lazima utakwisha.
Kimekuwa kibao kingine cha Mount Kenya University ishakuwa. Sitoe kitu kidogo, megharamia masomo. Wafisadi ni waongo, tatuzika kwenye shimo. Ishu hii siyo ndogo, shati ifike kikomo. Tumefikia kikomo na tunafunga midomo.
Thank you very much, Mount Kenya University Nakuru campus. Tupeni experience, wajiri tupeni experience. Coming on stage, Kenya Boys Choir. Kikundi kiongozwacho na Joseph Muyale. It's an international choir. Kenya Boys Choir. Wawasilisha kibao chao.
Nare yamuka siwanje narinda yanza okosanire bima. Nare yamuka siwanje narinda yanza okosanire bima. Nare yamuka siwanje narinda yanza okosanire bima. Orite kayena, orite kayena, orite kayena. Niwe komolobe. Nare yamuka siwanje narinda yanza okosanire bima. Orite kayena.
She's a beautiful woman, but bringing a lot of problems to my house. Every room, breaking in my house. She's breaking every rule in my house. You imagine?
Nare yamuga siwanje narinda yanza okosanire bima. Orite kayena, orite kayena, orite kayena. Niwe komolo weni. Nare yamuga siwanje. Nare yaho, nare yaho, nare yaho. Orite kayena, niwe komolo weni. Nare yamalako kanje narinda beka wafuna kakosi wafuna kanyapitaka nare oritakayena 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 niwe komola weni nare yamugasi wanje narinda yanza wakosanira bimba oritakayena oritakayena oritakayena
Nare uno.
niwe komola weni
What are you doing in my house? You're bringing a lot of problems in my house. I want, but I love her. She's my wife. What do I do?
Nare
much, Kenya Boys Choir. Next is Mount Kenya University Kigali campus, all the way from Rwanda, Kigali campus, doing their Itorero dance. Itorero. The group is led by one Claude Kanyariba. Karibuni, Karibuni Kenya. On stage and getting ready, Mount Kenya University, Kigali.
Mbomo ya mure warara, mbomo ya mure warara. Ngai,
Nyanyezi,
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 Ngai,
Nyanyezi,
Aiwe,
Nyanyezi,
Ngai mambo,
Nyanyezi,
Ngai she,
Nyanyezi,
Aiwe.
Gymnastics. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Madam Chancellor, distinguished guests, I want to appreciate all our students for giving us a wonderful entertainment. For more, we'll have other sessions in the afternoon. So for all our guests, you'll have an opportunity to see the full strip of Kigali dancing. I want to take this opportunity once again to welcome all our parents and recognize them for taking this chance to be here with us. I would also want to recognize our guardians, all our stakeholders here present today. Madam Chancellor, I will also want to recognize the presence of all our visitors who have come from across the region to be with us today. We have our team from Kigali, Abanyarwanda, Turikumwe. Okay, you're welcome. We have our students as well as our representatives. From the High Commission, we have Mr. Kim Kamasa representing the Ambassador of Rwanda to Kenya, here present. He's here with us. Yeah, please give him a round of applause. Thank you so much. We have a delegation from Makerere University Business School headed by Dr. Isaac Nkote and David Nyamoncho here with us. Wherever you are, please feel most welcome. We have the Vice Chancellor of Salam University, Professor Abdi Adan Osman from Somalia. We have so many other guests, and among them, we have a team, a very powerful team that you'll be introduced to in a short while from Hargeisa, headed by Professor Gulaid, the CEO of University Commission for University Council, and all the cabinet secretaries present. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. At this time, I'd like to introduce my colleague, Saif Mohammed, to take us through the next program.
Our chief guest, Honorable Eugene Wamalwa, Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Water and Irrigation. Guest speaker, Professor David Anthony Morgan, Emeritus Professor, York St. John University, England. The Chancellor, MKU, Professor Victoria Wells Wilson. The Chairman, Board of Trustees, Dr. Simon Gesharu. The Chairman, University Council, Professor Grace Njoroge. The Vice Chancellor, Professor Stanley Waudo. Distinguished guests, all members of staff, graduates, ladies and gentlemen, I now call upon one of our alumni representative, Paul Kavai Wambua, who was our first student who was enrolled in TIT, which is a precursor of Mount Kenya University, to come and make his presentation. Paul Kavai Wambua.
Okay. Madam Chancellor, Chief Guest, Guest Speaker, Board of Trustee members, members of University Council, Vice Chancellor, parents and guardians, sponsors, students, our ninth graduation ceremony graduates, and my fellow alumni, I salute you. Mount Kenya University, Madam Chancellor, as young as it is, we are proud of the efforts that have been put in place by the University Board of Trustees, University Council, the Senate, and their respective committees, the staff, and the students for their great contribution to the growth of university and the drivers of quality programs. Indeed, we thank the entire university and its leadership to have remained focused on the objectives of the university. Madam Chancellor, the Alumni Association takes this recognition that university management is in the process of considering the proposed Mount Kenya University Alumni Constitution. Indeed, this is a great milestone in Mount Kenya University Alumni Association, and on behalf of the Mount Kenya alumni, we appreciate the university management. As in our last graduation promise, in consultation with the Division of Student Welfare, Alumni and Marketing Affairs, the implementation of the Student Alumni Mentorship Initiative is already ongoing. This semester, some of our alumni have participated in the student mentorship through career talk and employability, soft and entrepreneurship training. This was achieved through networking the alumni hobbies to the guest speakers. An example of the Nation Media Group team headed by Mr. Juma Namlola, through the alumni of journalism departments, Namboga Kiage, a staff at Nation Media Group. Mr. William Luther, who participated in the Kenya Commercial Bank IDAN selection program, where 3 of our students are now ongoing with the internship at the KCB. We look forward for more involvement of alumni represented all over the world with vast experiences. Madam Chancellor, the Mount Kenya University Alumni Association has aligned its focus through institutionalization of the activities via the proposed constitution, and we believe the university management is willing to provide enabling environment and a consultation that will spur the project partnership for growth. To kick off the Alumni Association office, our prepared 2016 plan fundraising for its activities and initiatives. We look forward for external fundraising to enhance the needed resources to participate in the university development agenda. We wish to call upon all stakeholders to support us in this noble cause. Madam Chancellor, so far with this 9th graduation ceremony, boast of 60,000 alumni shaping the various sectors across the globe with dynamic challenges of workplace and opportunities. Mount Kenya University graduates have been innovative enough to emerge winners in the job creation. This does not matter the graduate level, right from the certificate holder to PhD holder. We take recognition of you alumni who have achieved great transformation kinetic in their various careers. For example, Mr. Omkami Musa Namanyi, who has been able to utilize his knowledge he gains in animal health and production to practice his farm in Kapkalen River, Kakamega County, not for himself, but also a training center for other farmers. This year, World Food Day celebration was held in his farm in Kipkalen Lugali sub-county. He has hosted several agricultural events in his farm in addition to his agrovet outlet in the local Maguri shopping center that serve the farmers in the locality. He also consults with the local sub-county officers. Madam Chancellor, another example is Mr. Paul Maina, alumnus of Department of Physical Science, the director and the owner of NICEP Enterprises. He pursued the chemical formula H2O, which is water, a product solvent of many chemical equations after studying diploma in analytical chemistry. NICEP is a still water tank construction and installation company based in Nairobi County. NICEP Enterprise Limited has secured some of the major tenders with international recognition for quality work. Mrs. Bernice Mungo is also another good example, the director and the owner of Neo Nutrition Limited, an alumnus in the Department of Nutrition and Dietetics that has been able to partner and engage various partners in nutrition-related diseases awareness training across the country. Madam Chancellor, I take this opportunity to congratulate them for the good ambassadorship, confirming that Mount Kenya University is providing practical solution programs to its students. Indeed, this being just a view to mention, these companies sustain a chain of employees and the provision of services by extrapolation to the 60,000 alumni of Mount Kenya University, which is our theme in today's occasion. I take this opportunity to inform 9th graduating class that you are sure to practice the knowledge, skills, and the attitude you have gained at Mount Kenya University and remain in alumni network as you are mentored by your elder brothers and sisters. I assure you that you have been well baked and now you are packaged yourself attractively through your selling point to the job market and the job creation. In my congregation, may I thank the parents, sponsors, guardians, the academic and administrative staff, and the university top management structures supporting these graduates who impact to the community will impact individually, socially, and economic developments, a mission of Mount Kenya University. Thank you for giving the alumni this opportunity to share our joy in this special occasion of 9th graduation ceremony. I wish each one of you happy Jamhuri Day celebration, Merry Christmas, and a happy prosperous year 2016. God bless you, and God bless Mount Kenya University.
Thank you, Bwana Paul Kavai, for that submission. May I now be allowed to invite the Vice Chancellor, Professor Stanley Waudo, to address the congregation and invite the CEO, Commission for Higher Education, Somaliland.
the Chief Guest, Honorable Eugene Wamalwa, Cabinet Secretary for Water and Irrigation, the Chancellor, Professor Victoria Wilson, our guest speaker, Professor David Brown, Dr. Simon Kicharu, the Chairman and the founder of Mount Kenya University, members of the Board of Trustees, Professor Grace N. Njoroke, Chairman, University Council, members of the University Council, Honorable National and County Government leaders present, our guests from Somaliland, Uganda, Somalia, and the United Kingdom, Vice Chancellors of universities present, members of the University Management Board, members of the University Senate, members of staff, graduates and students, all distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to warmly welcome you to Mount Kenya University and to the 9th graduation ceremony of the university. Today's graduation ceremony would not have been possible without successful completion of studies. To this end, I congratulate all the graduates for fulfilling academic programs requirements for certification. To parents, guardians, and sponsors, I say thank you for providing the support that facilitated the successful completion of studies by the graduates. Ladies and gentlemen, a total of 6,147 graduates will today be conferred with various degrees and awarded various diplomas and certificates in the following categories: PhD degrees, 5, master's degrees, 255, postgraduate diplomas, 76, bachelor's degree, 515, diplomas, 1,740, and certificates, 551. Madam Chancellor and the Chief Guest, Mount Kenya University Management is committed to offering relevant and high-quality academic programs. Regulatory bodies, including the Commission for University Education, have documentary evidence on the relevance and the quality of the university programs. Ladies and gentlemen, guided by the University Strategic Plan and the program market demands, the University Senate recently approved the following academic programs: postgraduate diploma in counseling psychology, Master of Science in biotechnology, Master of Arts in criminology and security studies, and Master of Arts in law enforcement and justice administration. To facilitate effective implementation of academic programs, the University Council recently approved the establishment of the School of Public Health, School of Computing and Informatics, and School of Hospitality, Travel, and Tourism Management. Also, because of the need to create synergy through sharing of academic resources among schools that offer health science programs, the establishment of a College of Health Sciences at Mount Kenya University is a necessity. Ladies and gentlemen, research and innovation are one of the key pillars for the university's strategic areas of excellence. We recognize that excellence in research and innovation requires resources and oversight support systems. To this end, the university has a research and innovation fund and policies and guidelines that govern the processes of research and innovation. Besides the internal funding of research and innovation, there is an external funding for the same. This year, 2015, research funding was outsourced from the following organizations: Department for International Development, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and the Templeton World Charity Foundation. The university management highly appreciates the support we have received from the aforementioned funding agencies. On behalf of the university fraternity, I take this opportunity to commend and appreciate the staff members, Dr. Jesse Kitaka and Dr. Francis Muregi, and their co-researchers for outsourcing funds from the aforementioned funding agencies. Madam Chancellor and the chief guest, universities exist in communities that have challenges. Addressing the challenges requires broad participation that brings together both the private and the public sectors, led by researchers from universities. Mount Kenya University is an active participant in addressing some of the challenges in the communities through its corporate social responsibility programs. To improve such delivery, the university management continues to promote acquiring of relevant skills. Ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, I take this opportunity to thank the Chancellor, the Chairman, Board of Trustees, the Chairman, University Council, members of the Board of Trustees and Council, our partners, parents, and guardians for their unequivocal support. I also thank the university staff for their diligence and hard work, and the university management for consistently supporting the development and the growth of the university. I also thank the students for observing the rules and regulations governing their conduct and maintaining high-level discipline that has ensured smooth running of the university. Finally, to the graduates, I again congratulate you for completing your studies successfully and wish you a successful future. Merry Christmas to you all and Happy New Year. Thank you very much. At this juncture, Madam Chancellor, allow me to invite Professor Hossein, this Chief Executive Officer, Commission for University Education in Somaliland, to come and introduce the visitors from Somaliland. Prof, you're welcome.
Mr. Guest Speaker, Honorable Eugene Wamalmoe, Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Water and Irrigation in Kenya. Mr. Chairman, MKU founder and the chairman, Dr. Samuel Gichuru, Chancellor, Professor Victoria Wells Woolsey, Chairman of the Council, Professor Grace Njoroge, and all the councillors, Vice Chancellor, Professor Stanley Waudo, MKU staff, and the graduating students, distinguished guests on this occasion, good afternoon, good morning to all of you. I feel privileged very much privileged to stand here in front of you in order to convey thanks from the Republic of Somaliland delegation here today. For the hospitality and kindness you have extended to this delegation of Somaliland. And for inviting us into the 9th graduation ceremony of Mount Kenya University here in Thika. MKU, Mount Kenya University, has also a very beautiful campus in Hargeisa, the capital of Somaliland. We have close collaboration and working spirit with that campus and Mount Kenya campuses at large. Honorable distinguished guests, could you allow me to introduce this delegation from Somaliland Republic? First and foremost, I will call His Excellency Abdullahi Ibrahim Habane, Minister of Education and Higher Education in Somaliland. I would also like to introduce His Excellency Dr. Mohammed Farah Douale, Minister of State Finance in Somaliland. I will also introduce my colleague, Mr. Suleiman Jama Diriye, who is a DG of the Minister of Health in Somaliland. Again, my friend Mustafa Mohammed Jama, a technical advisor to the Ministry of Education and Higher Studies. I would also like to introduce a friend of ours, a friend of Somaliland Republic, who is here today to attend this ceremony from Puntland, the Somalia. And ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, thank you very much.
Madam Chancellor, allow me to invite Dr. Vincent Gaido, the Vice Chairman, University Council, to invite the Chairman of Council to address the congregation.
Madam Chancellor, our Chief Guest, C.S. Omalwa, Chairman, Board of Trustees, and members of Board of Trustees, our graduates, our beautiful graduates. Mine is a very simple activity this morning at this time, and I would say it is my humble pleasure and privilege to invite the Chairman of Mount Kenya University Council, Professor Grace Njoroge, to address the congregation and thereafter invite the Chairman Board of Trustees, Dr. Simon Gisharu, to make his remarks. Professor Grace Njoroge.
Our chief guest this day, the Honorable Eugene Wamarwa, the Cabinet Secretary for Water and Irrigation, our Chancellor, Professor Victoria Wilson, our Chief Speaker, Guest Speaker, Professor David Anthony Brown, Professor Emeritus at the York State John University, England, Dr. Simon Gisharu, the founder of Mount Kenya University, Board of Trustees, and founder, members of the University Trust, Dr. Mohamed Farah, State Minister, Ministry of Finance, Somaliland, Mr. Abdullahi Ibrahim Habane, State Minister, Ministry of Education, Higher Education, Somaliland, Mr. Sulaiman Jama, Director General, Ministry of Health, Representative, Somaliland, Professor Hussein Hassan Gulaid, Executive Director, National Commission for Higher Education, Mr. Abdullahi Ali Jama, Ministry of Education, Puntland, Your Excellencies, Ambassadors, and High Commissioners present, Honorable National and County Government leaders, Professor Stanley Waudo, the Vice Chancellor, members of Management Board and Senate, our staff members, graduates and students, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It gives me great pleasure to address you today. This is a very special day for all our graduates, and my sincere congratulations to all our graduates who are sitting before me this morning for your great hard work, which is being recognized through the award of certificates, diplomas, and conferment of degrees. This would not have been possible without the support and encouragement of colleagues, families, spouses, friends, sponsors, well-wishers who have escorted you even today. I take this early opportunity to congratulate each one of you for this great achievement. It is indeed a day of joyous celebration of God's faithfulness to you and to all of us at Mount Kenya University. And we do want to join up and celebrate your achievement today. Our chief guests, the Chancellor, universities today are operating in a very dynamic environment, and hence for us as Mount Kenya leadership to ensure that the university invests in human capital development. This will ensure quality service
delivery, and compliance to statutory requirements, especially in fulfilling the required student-staff ratio across the programs and throughout the university. Our chief guests, Madam Chancellor, to this end, the university leadership has established the Vice Chancellor's Award to support successful staff members to complete their research in pursuit of various areas of specialization. The University Council has further supported the necessary restructuring and reorganization in the university in order to bring out the required efficiency. I need to note with satisfaction that this restructuring has been informed by the obvious growth of this university. As a council, we are supporting the moving away from restrictive structures to ones which are all-encompassing, that allow expansion and indeed cater for adaptation to emerging and relevant demands of the society. Madam Chancellor, our chief guest, we recognize the need for a strong student association, and recently the University Council approved amendments to the Mount Kenya University Students Association Constitution in order to accommodate the leadership needs that our students have. This will not only strengthen the student leadership, but also will provide guidelines for management and development of this association. Further, I wish to note that the university has developed various policies that would guide this institution in various sectors. The council indeed approved, for example, the occupation health, safety, and environment policy, and I'm confident that the Mount Kenya University management team, the staff and students will implement the requisite obligations so as to have a safe working environment. I wish to note also that at Mount Kenya University, we recognize the importance of our students' participation in co-curricular activities as a key component of their learning experience in this university. We recognize the importance of giving them a platform to nurture their talents. In this regard, the University Council has approved the establishment of the Institute of Film, Creative and Performing Arts, which is committed to producing the best talent in this emerging field, career, and area of business. Earlier this year, our efforts bore fruit when the university won the National Drama Festivals, and I wish to even indicate that our students were also part of the team that represented the nation of Kenya in the World University Games held in South Korea. And I wish to send my congratulations to our students who have really made us proud. The chairman of the Board of Trustees, Dr. Simon Gesharu, is also at an advanced stage in developing a major project which will cultivate TV audiences throughout this region. Or I can say, watch this space. Our chief guests, Madam Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, in addition to the knowledge imparted to our graduates through teaching, research, and academic trips, we have taken a bold step in ensuring that our graduates have the necessary soft skills in the various areas, which include leadership, communication, and financial literacy. This is achieved through a mentorship program at club level, career talks, and exit training, which imparts employability skills to our students in their final year of study, and hence enhancing their personal initiative. I wish to mention that we do not only train our students to be employed, but we do train them also to be successful entrepreneurs, thereby becoming employers themselves. As I finish, Madam Chancellor, our chief guests, ladies and gentlemen, I wish to mention that today we also launch the 2015-2019 Mount Kenya University Strategic Plan, and I wish to mention that this is a plan that gives the university a very clear direction on what we intend or we envision to accomplish in the areas of academics, scientific research, as well as infrastructural development in the next 3 years, in the next 5 years. I therefore wish to request our staff to adhere to the plan, monitor the plan, evaluate the achievements or the experiences, and ensure that any necessary changes will be reported and the council will diligently support. I wish to end my remarks this morning as I wish you a Merry Christmas and a very happy New Year 2016. God bless you.
Madam Chancellor, allow me to invite Dr. Vincent Kaido, the Vice Chairman, University Council, to invite the guest speaker to address the congregation.
Madam Chancellor, our chief guest, Chair of Board of Trustees, ladies and gentlemen, I have the honor of inviting the guest speaker, but on consideration, we have a more competent person who I would wish to speak to us and introduce our guest speaker. We have one among us, Dr. Lucas Jenga, the CEO of Heart for the City Purpose Center, an associated group of Glasgow University, Caledonia, Scotland, who is also a very good friend of our university. He is also a very good partner of our guest speaker, and I wish to welcome him here to introduce Professor David Brown, our guest speaker.
Our chief guest, Honorable Eugene Wamalwa, Cabinet Secretary for Water and Irrigation, Chancellor, Professor Victoria Woolston, the founder of Mount Kenya University and Chairman of Board of Trustees, Dr. Simon Gisharu, members of the Board of Trustees, Your Excellencies, Ambassadors, High Commissioners, present Chief Executive Officers of the Commission of the University, graduates and students, all protocol observed. It gives me great pleasure on behalf of the Kenyans in the diaspora to bring greetings this very day on this wonderful occasion. Madam Vice Chancellor, Madam Chancellor, before I introduce our guest speaker, I would just like to convey our collaboration with Mount Kenya University as the Kenyans in the diaspora. We have found it being a great privilege and a wonderful opportunity to be partnering and collaborating with Mount Kenya University in the efforts of knowledge transfer and creating relationships in the diaspora. The Kenyans in the diaspora find it wonderful to have universities that think beyond the local opportunities that are in Kenya, but scale the heights of education in exploring partnerships and relationships in the international arena, and particularly in the United Kingdom. Today marks a new level of partnership. Following the visit of Mount Kenya University in the United Kingdom, where Heart for the City was able to host and create some collaborative partnerships on behalf of the university. And therefore, it gives me great pleasure to introduce a friend that I've known for almost 20 years now, Professor David Moan Brown. You realize that I'm the only one who will call him David Moan Brown because it's a double-barreled surname. Professor David Moan Brown was born in Cape Town, South Africa, where he was raised briefly and then came to Tanganyika, and he grew up before going back to Cape Town, where he undertook his undergraduate studies in the University of Cape Town. Shortly after that, he went to the University of Cambridge, St. John's College, and he did his master's degrees, and then followed that by doing a Doctor of Philosophy in the University of Sussex. He entered into the higher education arena at an early stage and went through up all the ranks to the point of being an acting Vice Chancellor in the University of Pietermaritzburg, where I got 2 of my first degrees. He was the one who conferred both of them. Professor David Moan Brown then proceeded after early retirement in South Africa to take a major position of Deputy Vice Chancellor in the University of York St. John. During all this time of his career development, Professor David Moan Brown amassed wealth of experience in research, and his main area of publication is in African literature, colonial fiction, race ideology, where he has had deep engagement with Kenya through the literature of Ngugi wa Thiong'o. During the end of his higher education active career, before retiring after 43 years of active engagement in higher education, Professor David Moan Brown actively engaged in York St. John in the areas of research and academic development. He brings to us today a great wealth of experience, knowledge, and exposure in higher education. It therefore gives me a great pleasure, Madam Chancellor, to introduce Professor David Moan Brown.
Chief Guest, Honourable Eugene Wamalwa, Cabinet Secretary for Water and Irrigation, Chancellor Professor Victoria Woolston, Dr. Simon Gisharu, the founder of Mount Kenya University and Chairman of the Board of Trustees, members of the Board of Trustees, Your Excellencies, Ambassadors and High Commissioners present, Honourable National and County Government leaders, Professor Grace Njoroge, Chairman, and the members of the Board of the University Council, Vice Chancellor Professor Stanley Waudo, members of Management Board and Senate, members and staff, graduates and students, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Jambo. I bring greetings from York St. John University in the ancient city of York in England. There are 2 things I'd like to say at the outset. The first, which must always take precedence over anything else on an occasion such as this is to extend my warmest congratulations to all of those of you who are graduating today on your great achievement. Today is the day on which all your hard work over the past years is given the formal recognition it so richly deserves. You have every right to be exceptionally pleased with what you've achieved. Very warm congratulations are due also to your lecturers and tutors, to university management, and to all those friends and family who have supported you along the way and contributed to your success by doing so. Secondly, I'd like to say how very pleased I am to have been invited as your guest speaker today, and how much I appreciate the honor Mount Kenya University is doing me by inviting me to take part in this auspicious 9th graduation ceremony. It's very good indeed to be back in your great country. My being here to give a United Kingdom perspective on global knowledge equality, which has been chosen by the university as the topic for my keynote address, is testimony to this university's commitment to borderless education. The aspiration and ambition of your university motto, Scaling the Heights of Education, and its association with Mount Kenya set the tone for a graduation ceremony perfectly. A great many of the universities I've visited over the years are built symbolically on hills and look out over the plains below. That carries with it a danger that they may be tempted to look out over, quite literally to overlook, the people who live on the plains below. Your main campus here, by contrast, is located on the plains, embedded among the people it serves, but it looks to the heights of Mount Kenya for inspiration as you strive to attain the heights of education. My brief speech today focuses on the need for what is termed global knowledge equality. What does this mean, and how does one set about achieving it? We all know what we mean by knowledge. The knowledge people have is the sum of the information they've acquired through their learning and their experience during their lives. Knowledge appropriate to the 21st century is needed for individuals to be successful in their careers and for the development of national economies. At its simplest, global knowledge equality means finding ways to make sure that the knowledge acquired and stored on the heights of education flows down to quench the thirst for knowledge of all the people on the plains below. The point about global knowledge equality is that the knowledge required for individuals and societies to get on in life, to make progress in the 21st century, is very unevenly distributed across the globe. This is manifestly unjust and totally unfair. John Rawls, the American political and moral philosopher, has made the point that those sections of the global population who don't have the knowledge necessary to make progress don't know what they don't know. And accordingly, they have no idea how their lives would change if they had access to their fair share of that knowledge. This is the important point, this puts a moral and ethical obligation on those sections of the global population who do have the necessary knowledge to share their knowledge with those who don't. But there are three important considerations to bear in mind. First of all, not all knowledge necessary for the workplace in one part of the world is relevant everywhere else. Second, no one anywhere is without their own store of locally useful acquired knowledge. And third, new knowledge and new ways of acquiring knowledge are being discovered all the time. Let me illustrate briefly. The only group of people in the world that I know of who claim singular ownership of knowledge are, improbably enough, London taxi drivers. If you were in London and heard people talking about the knowledge, as opposed just to knowledge generally, they'd be talking about the legendary and incredibly detailed knowledge of the London streets that drivers in London have to have to be examined on before they're given a taxi license. But not all knowledge is equally useful. London taxi drivers need the knowledge to get licenses and to drive in London and to carry on with their work. But that knowledge would be completely useless if they had to try to earn a living as taxi drivers in Paris. The people in Paris would know far more about how to get around Paris than the London taxi drivers. So when it comes to applying knowledge, some kind of knowledge are much more useful in local context than others. Secondly, Everyone everywhere has the knowledge acquired through their own experience. The people of Paris know their own streets. The knowledge people have may not be the knowledge needed for growth and social transformation in the 21st century, but that doesn't mean that they're without some knowledge. When it comes to the practical application of knowledge, solving practical problems in the local context, what they know about that context on the ground is likely to be invaluable. Universities are very important repositories of knowledge, with a critically important role in promoting global knowledge equality. But I've always resisted the use of terms like extension and outreach to describe universities' interactions with the communities they serve. Those terms imply that the flow of knowledge is all in one direction, outward from the university, as though the university has nothing to learn from the communities it interacts with. And that, of course, is anything but the case. Knowledge transfer is a far more appropriate term for the passing on of global knowledge, as it allows the possibility for a two-way process. Knowledge transfer depends on partnership and mutual respect. Partnerships don't work if one partner sees itself as the dominant partner. As someone born and brought up in Africa, I fully endorse the words of President Sékou Touré, the first president of the independent Republic of Guinea, who said, "Africans have no objection to partnership as such, but they do not care for the partnership of the rider and the horse." The third key point to remember with regard to promoting global knowledge equality is that new knowledge is being generated all the time. Universities play a leading role in this. Research, the generation of new knowledge, is what distinguishes them from other tertiary level institutions. And new ways of accessing and acquiring knowledge are also being developed all the time. While the knowledge needed by people trying to qualify as London taxi drivers used to have to be gained by spending months walking up and down those streets, now it's much more easily acquired by studying Google Maps and Street View. But more than that, as you may know, London taxi drivers have recently been in a bitter dispute with a company called Uber, which uses private cars whose drivers aren't licensed to drive taxis and who don't have the knowledge. They don't need the knowledge, all they need is a sat-nav, and that's all they would need in Paris too. So bearing these cautions in mind, what can be done to enhance global knowledge equality? Well, in the first place, as I stand here and look at the rows and rows and rows and rows of you graduating with higher education qualifications today, it's clear that Mount Kenya University is already making a very significant institutional contribution to that process through the higher education of very substantial numbers of students. Secondly, research capacity needs to be enhanced so that local challenges can be addressed locally. One of the best ways of doing this is by entering into collaborative research partnerships internationally. To take an example very close to home, my son Brendan is a researcher at the University of Cape Town whose research focuses on the stigma surrounding HIV/AIDS and the conditional economic incentives which might be necessary to induce people to have themselves tested and, if they're positive, to embark on a program of antiretrovirals. The National Research Fellowship, which he was awarded to undertake this research, explicitly requires international research collaboration. He has to find collaborators internationally. His collaborations with researchers at Yale, Brown, and Harvard universities in the United States have enhanced his own capacity and that of his university enormously, and have contributed to knowledge of an important issue affecting Africa as a whole. New challenges require new solutions, and global research collaboration makes those solutions much more likely. Thirdly, the findings of research need to be made available and relevant to a very much wider audience than those who tend to read relatively inaccessible academic journals. My own research at the University of Natal focused initially on the novels written about the Mau Mau uprising here in Kenya, because the colonial myths about the Land and Freedom Army were being used to reinforce apartheid race myths and apartheid generally. I saw it as very important to refute those myths as widely as possible, so I made a point of publishing my findings accessibly in every way I could, from my lectures to letters to the newspaper to speeches on public platforms. It's sometimes difficult, particularly in the humanities, to know whether one's research is having any impact on anybody. One way I was able to measure the impact of my research was by the frequency of the death threats I received from the apartheid security police. Fourthly, the people without the relevant knowledge need to be given the opportunity to acquire it for themselves, which will sometimes just mean giving them access to the technology. The effect of making technology available to those who don't have access to the necessary knowledge in other ways can be truly astonishing. The world's best single recent example of this is probably your very own Kenyan YouTube man, Julius Yego. Even in our contemporary internet age, it would seem an outrageous fantasy to imagine that somebody could turn himself into a world champion at any sport with no coaching whatsoever just by watching YouTube. But that's precisely what Julius Yego has succeeded in doing. An equally astonishing example, but one with much wider implications for education and global knowledge equality, is to be found in what's come to be known as the hole-in-the-wall experiment. In the late 1990s, Sugita Mitra, who is now a professor of educational technology at the University of Newcastle in England, was working on computers in a very deprived area of New Delhi in India. Concerned about the contrast between his own situation in life and that of the street children he walked past on his way to work every day, he decided to give them access to a computer to see what would happen. He set up a computer along the lines of a hole-in-the-wall ATM that the children could access. He put a CCTV camera at a discrete distance, and he watched to see what would happen. He was amazed by what he saw. The children very quickly worked out and taught each other how to play computer games. But soon they got bored with that, and they moved on to work out how to access the internet. But that, of course, was largely in English. Within a couple of months, without any adult intervention whatever, they had taught themselves and each other enough English to be able to surf the internet. At that point, Professor Mitra intervened and started to set the children particular challenges. And this reached the point where 9 to 12-year-old Tamil-speaking street children with no formal education whatever and no adult help whatever were coming back to him with the answers to complicated first-year university-level questions in applied genetics, all in English. Professor Mitra's findings have revolutionary implications for education and enormous potential when it comes to reducing global knowledge inequality. Finally, in terms of what can be done to enhance global knowledge equality, maximum use needs to be made of what have come to be known as the knowledge commons. Many universities have recognized the ethical need to promote global knowledge equality and have made their teaching resources freely available to anyone who can access them. Course materials from some of the best universities in the world are now available online. The challenge is to give people access to them. I want to conclude these few words on global knowledge equality by returning to your university motto, Scaling the Heights of Education, with its reference to Mount Kenya and Mount Kenya's indirect association with the Gikuyu creation myth. One very significant difference between the Gikuyu creation myth and the Judeo-Christian creation myth about Adam and Eve is that whereas the culmination of the story of Adam and Eve has to do ultimately with knowledge, the knowledge of good and evil, the story of Gikuyu and Mumbi is much more broadly about the creation of all humankind. For a university named after Mount Kenya that aspires to scale the heights of education, it's entirely appropriate that the association with Mount Kenya should extend beyond knowledge per se to encompass all dimensions of creation more broadly. In this regard, I think Luc Weber was right when, after acknowledging the welfare and cohesion of society depends on knowledge, he says, he then goes on to say, but the rate of return of knowledge cannot be evaluated in terms of economic growth. Ethical issues raised by the development of science, the consequences of economic development on the environment, or the increasing divide between those who have and can and those who have not and cannot, require that programs not only aim at providing knowledge to the students, but also a better general education and a sense of their responsibility towards the long-term interests of society, and not only the essentially short-term targets of the business world. Government discourse about higher education in the UK has become depressingly utilitarian. Universities seem to be perceived to exist solely to churn out graduates, to go out into the employment market, to oil the wheels of the economy. It's clear that Mount Kenya University, by contrast, recognizes that there's very much more to higher education than that. To quote from your website, your university is committed to a broad-based, holistic and inclusive system of education, an all-rounded education that includes moral and professional education. Global knowledge equality will best be achieved by an inclusive, broad-based and holistic or all-round transfer of knowledge that lays stress on morality and professionalism as well as on knowledge itself. Let me end then by congratulating today's graduates most warmly once again on your achievements, and congratulating the founders, the governors, and the senior management of this thriving university on their vision. It is clear that when you start to scale the heights of Mount Kenya, you can see a very, very long way. Thank you.
Our chief guests, the Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, it is my humble duty at this point to invite Dr. Simon Gisharu, the Chairman of Mount Kenya University Board of Trustees, the brain behind this great university, to give his address. Thank you. Dr. Gisharu.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Hebu nimusikie huko. Good morning, how are you? Thank you very much. Thank you. The chief guest, Honorable Eugene Wamarua, Cabinet Secretary for Water and Irrigation, our Chancellor, Professor Victoria Woolsey, the guest speaker, Professor David Anthony Brown, Emeritus Professor, York University, England, my fellow Board of Trustee members, the University Council, Honorable Francis Munywa, the MP for Juja, representing elected leaders of Kiambu County, our friends from Somaliland, our county commissioners, ladies and gentlemen. I want, first and foremost, to thank Honorable Eugene Wamarua for coming to this occasion. And I want to tell you that he landed this morning from United Kingdom at 6 in the morning, and he's here with us. Tumpigie makofi. I feel very humbled because of that. First, allow me to introduce to you, because many people are referring to me as the founder, and I did not found this university alone. I had my dear wife, Jane Nyoto, who is with me here, and I want to invite her because I represent her when I'm called the founder. She is here. Yuko hapa ni yeye sasa. Let her greet you, isn't it? Siamsalimie. Haya, Jane.
Chief guests, distinguished guests, parents, students, we are delighted, we are happy to have you. And when he starts here, I feel represented completely. So take over.
Thank you, don't go. Sometimes back, when we were thinking about this 9th graduation ceremony, she asked me a question. Simon, how many graduates have we graduated since we started the Thika Institute of Technology, which became the university? And I told her we had 60,000. And she told me that to appreciate what we are calling the 60,000 graduate, she said, all the allowances she has been getting, she will at least forfeit part of the allowances to appreciate at least one graduate. So she asked me, out of 60,000, how am I going to how are you going to identify that graduate I want to identify? And we said we will do a random raffle. And we asked the information technology specialists in the university, can you come up with that system to identify? And all the names were put in that level, and I want to disclose to you that one gentleman called Joseph Chalo became the lucky winner of that level. This gentleman, Joseph, happened to have also married an alumni of the university. I want to say that they are successful. When they left the university, they did not just marry, but they also heeded my call. Go out there. You are the graduate. Go out there and also be a job creator, not a job seeker. And this couple established a very successful pharmaceutical shop, which today they are running. And I want to say today, my wife will grant them a return paid for ticket to Dubai in United Emirates worth 300,000 Kenya shillings. Mr. Joseph and Florence, can they come here to receive that particular gesture? So this is the ticket. This is the ticket. Kenya Airways. So they will move from Nairobi to Dubai. We will pay for the accommodation, the two of them. It was meant for Joseph, but in the Bible it is said, what God put together, no man shall put asunder. So the wife also, even if she didn't win, and the husband won, of course, the two of them will go. So this is their tickets. Jane, it's your chance now to give them the tickets. Thank you. I wish you the best. So thank you, Jane. Thank you. At least those will be celebrating with us the 60,000 students who personally I feel very much delighted because all of you are serving in different parts of the world. It's not only Kenya, Rwanda, Somaliland. When I go to Dubai, when I go to United Kingdom, when I go to United States, I meet most of our graduates who are not only transforming our country, but transforming the world. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to start my small presentation, and today I will say it is small in the sense that we don't have a lot of time, and I want to promise you that, as we have always said, that by latest one, we don't want you to start feeling uncomfortable. I want to push our people here that by one, we want to ensure that this graduation ceremony is over so that we can continue with our other businesses. I want to say Mount Kenya University currently is investing very much in ICT infrastructure so that we can continue being the best and continuing on scaling the heights of education. Many people have been asking us, how are you doing as a university to remain afloat, to remain sustainable? And I want to assure our graduates, parents, friends, and our supporters that the university is investing millions of shillings in strengthening our structures and our systems. So, ladies and gentlemen, when we are talking about the University Council, when we are talking about the Senate, we would want everybody, all of us, to support those structures so that we can continue protecting the integrity of whatever we are doing as a university. And we are going to use ICT to ensure that we are not only effective, but also efficient. I am saying that from next year, we don't want to hear our graduates queuing up and asking, why are we not graduating this time and that time? Because I want to invest so much in IT infrastructure, and I want to say that 5% of our annual income as a university will be invested in supporting our ICT infrastructure so that we can be the preferred university. As we celebrate here today, we are not just celebrating those people who will go to Dubai, but I am also celebrating our first 45 pharmacists who graduated as doctors from Mount Kenya University, that making Mount Kenya University the only private, the first graduates to be trained from a private university in Kenya since our country became independent. Let's clap for that. That's a big achievement. Many people are not believing that we can make it, but indeed we have proved to the whole country that indeed we are focused and we remain committed to whatever we pertained to do. We are investing with in a lot of infrastructure, and I want to say that very soon next year we will launch our Nakuru campus, a brand new, ultra-modern, the best campus in Nakuru will come from this university, and we are on course. The building is complete. We are doing the finishing, and I want to say we will deliver by around May next year. In Rwanda, we are also on course, and we are going to shift to our new MKU campus in Kagarama in Rwanda by around April next year, because the building is now complete. In Lodwar, we became the first private university to establish an accredited university in Lodwar this year, and we are very proud to take education to the farthest part of this country, and we are very sure that we are the only university, and we can see many other universities coming up. In Thika, we are building the tallest building in Kiambu County, and we anticipate that it will be completed next year. And we have agreed, me, myself, and my wife, that we will dedicate that campus to our alumni, and once it is completed, it will be known as Alumni Towers, the first alumni towers in this country. We are committed in investing in quality education, And we are going out of our way by getting people, very credible people, to support us in whatever we are doing. And I want to say that the university recently entered into an understanding with the former Vice Chancellor of Masai Mara University, Professor Serem, who accepted to be our patron in the Eldoret campus, serving as our adjunct professor, so that we can be able to continue providing quality education to our students in Eldoret. I want to go a little bit to our 844 system, and I want to say that some times back this year, we had some few issues in our Rwanda campus. They were not really issues, even if I would say they were blown out of proportion a little bit, because the challenge that we had in Rwanda, Kigali, with the commission, with the authorities there, is really the integration of our 844 system with the Rwandan education system. And I want to tell our graduate parents, our stakeholders, that we have this far solved and agreed on how to go about it, because the problem that was there is the integration of education system. The system that we follow in Kenya, the one that is followed in Rwanda is different, and we went into a smaller challenge. But I am very much encouraged that our education officers in Kenya have said and agreed they are going to overhaul the 844 education system, so that we can be like our other East African countries. And I hope that once this is achieved, then the zeal of Mount Kenya University to expand in the East African region will be supported as it is required. And at that juncture, I want to congratulate the Cabinet Secretary in charge of education, Dr. Fred Matiagi, on his appointment, and I hope that he will take the endeavors of overhauling education system to the highest level possible. And I want to assure him that as the chairman of the National Association of Private Universities in Kenya, the umbrella body of all private universities owners in Kenya, we will support his endeavors and we will cooperate with whatever he intends to do. As we celebrate our 9th graduation ceremony, the Vice Chancellor said that the university recently was able to procure grants, competitive grants, from our development partners. And I want to say that this year alone, we were able to get grants worth 150 million Kenya shillings. That is 0.15 billion for research. I want to assure the Vice Chancellor that the founders, the Board of Trustees, will support that particular venture. And I want to thank particularly my friend, Professor Andrew Briggs of University of Oxford in United Kingdom, for mentoring our professors here in order to acquire the largest grant that the Vice Chancellor mentioned to research on Kenya Christian and scientific affiliation, worth about 100 million shillings from one particular partner. I want to touch just a little bit on integrity and discipline. And at that particular juncture, I want to thank our government for taking initiative to support integrity, because integrity is really hitting us very hard. Integrity is not just in government circles. The problem is not in government circles. It is also penetrating in our educational systems. And we are having it very hard when you hear some students or some staff want to hack our computer systems for their own self-interest. And I want to say that it is a high time, and I want to agree with the government that we need to integrate in our curriculums the issue of integrity. The government alone cannot be able to fight the monster. We require to support the government by inculcating the issue of integrity. Integrity is becoming a very big challenge of development. not just development in the government, but also development in our own enterprises. And I want to say, to urge our graduates, as we encourage you to go out there, to scale the heights of your careers, I want to request you to promote integrity at the highest level possible. It is a problem, it is a challenge, it is eating our enterprises, and therefore we need to take it very seriously. When you become dishonest as an employee, you are not only working against your institution, but also working against yourself. So I want to request you that as you look at your careers, can you think about protecting your integrity to the highest level possible. I want also to congratulate Mr. Mahusa, the director of Kenafric Industries, who has taken over the mantle from me as the East African Entrepreneur of the Year, and want to thank particularly Ernst & Young for coming up with such initiatives that reward honest excellence. This is a very good initiative, and I want to encourage other institutions in this country to consider supporting people who excel, because that is the only way we can be able to promote integrity in our institutions. It is good for other people to know when you work hard, you will succeed. Mount Kenya University was not established because myself and my wife Jane, we had a lot of money, but you are committed. We put integrity at the highest level possible, and that is why this university became the way it is today, serving the whole world. So I want to encourage you again and remind you, when you go home, as we encourage you not to become job seekers, to become job creators, can you think about putting integrity to the highest level possible? It is not very surprising to see a young kid, a young child, and I have seen it happening. I saw one young kid somewhere asking the father, please accept to give me a lift, and I will give you my bread in the morning. So I wondered, this bread was bought by the father. How comes now the child wanted to bribe the father so that he is given a lift? Really, we need to ask ourselves what is going wrong. The parents, our guardians, our students, our staff, we need to promote. And myself, as we move to the next year, I want to take integrity as my driving force. Anywhere I will be going, I want to be talking about integrity so that we can be able to support development of our institutions. Because let's not kill our institutions because of our selfish interests. Let us move on so that we can be able to develop this country. This world will not be developed by people without integrity. Ladies and gentlemen, I know we don't have a lot of time. I will stop my presentation there because there are other people who want to present, to make their presentation, and I want to wish our students, staff, parents, guardians, sponsors, and stakeholders a successful and Merry Christmas and prosperous year 2016. God bless you, and thank you very much. I have been requested humbly to invite our chief guest, who is not only a chief guest to me, but also my personal friend, Honorable Eugene Wamarwa, who is the Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Water and Irrigation. And I want to say that I have known Eugene for quite some time. One is the chairman, Task Force Reviewing Local Government Officers Act, also as the trustee, Local Authorities Pension Fund Trust, also as the chairman, Board of Trustees, Kenya Seed Company Limited, Staff Retirement Benefit Scheme, also as a director, Kenya Seed Company Limited, a member of parliament, dedicated member of parliament of Saboti constituency, and also a successful constitutional implementation working force, working with the CIC, CIOC, KLRC, the Office of the Attorney General, and also the Office of the President. Eugene has also served as the Minister for Justice, National Cohesion, and Constitutional Affairs, a great speaker and a friend of this university. Honorable Eugene Wamalwa, this is your chance to come and address this congregation.
Thank you very much, the chairman, my good friend, Dr. Simon Gisharu, the Chancellor, Professor Victoria Wilson, the guest speaker, Professor David Brown, members of the Board of Trustees, Excellencies, Ambassadors, and High Commissioners, Professor Grace Njoroge, the chairperson, and members of the University Council, graduates and students, parents and guardians, the County Commissioner, Kiambu County, and the Member of Parliament, our delegation from Somaliland, and all distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Hamjambo. Hebu tusalimiane hewani, hamjambo. Asante sana. We are very happy to be here today. And it is a great honor for me to join you today during this 9th graduation. And may I start by congratulating you on your graduation and the hard work and sacrifice that went into this, and to also congratulate your lecturers, your parents, your guardians, your supporters, your sponsors who supported you to enable you achieve what you have achieved today. I was very pleased when I heard your national anthem. After the national anthem, you sang the MKU anthem. And what I liked most about the way it was sung was the issue of the values that this university seeks to imbue in you who study here and in other campuses, not just in Kenya, but across East Africa. The values of hard work and academic excellence, the values of equality of opportunity, the values of integrity that the chairman has just talked about, the values of truth and honesty. And these are values that will take you far. The former US President Theodore Roosevelt once said that in every struggle for human betterment, one of the main objects, and often the only object, has been to achieve, in large measure, equality of opportunity. In the struggle for this great end, nations rise from barbarism to civilization, and people press forward from one stage of enlightenment to the next. I believe that there can be no better tool for equalization and the betterment of humanity and enlightenment of society than education. Indeed, education, apart from death, is the ultimate equalizer in any society. I believe you graduates do not come from the same backgrounds, but through education, you can become anything you want to be, and that is the main reason we are here today, not just to witness, but to celebrate your achievements. Ladies and gentlemen, we are also here to celebrate the success of private-public partnership, such as Mount Kenya University, that has seen the private sector invest billions of shillings in the education sector. And we thank Dr. Gisharu, the founder, not forgetting the co-founder. And I was very, very pleased to meet her today for what you have done in terms of increasing access to education through such a first-class facility such as MKU. As the chairman said, I just arrived this morning from the UK, where yesterday I was at one of the oldest and most prestigious universities, Oxford University. It's a university that many Kenyans and many Africans struggle to travel to over the years to get world-class education. But with the building of new universities like Mount Kenya, Kenyans and Africans no longer have to travel thousands of miles to foreign lands to access world-class education. You can now do so right here in Africa, right here in East Africa, right here in Kenya, and right here in MKU. For this, we want to thank and appreciate our local investors, such as Dr. Gisharu, and on behalf of government, assure you of our continued support and partnership. The government remains committed and supportive to making higher education accessible to all Kenyans, regardless of race, ethnic origin, religious, or political affiliation. Through public-private partnership, the government has broadened the environment in which not only public and private universities thrive, but in which entrepreneurship and innovation are nurtured. And many a times, as a country, we have celebrated our athletes when they bring home to Kenya gold and silver and bronze medals, and when our national anthem is played in the major capitals of the world. But rarely do we celebrate entrepreneurship. And I think the time has come as a country and as a society to appreciate and to celebrate entrepreneurship. And that's why we're very proud when we have an entrepreneur like Dr. Gisharu being named the Entrepreneur of the Year. An entrepreneur like David Mwangi of Equity winning the same award and entering the Hall of Fame as far as entrepreneurship and innovation is concerned. Out of this distinguished gathering today, we hope to see more entrepreneurship who will scale the heights and make us proud, as Dr. Simon Gisharu and David Mwangi and all other entrepreneurs have done. Ladies and gentlemen, innovation plays a critical role in ensuring that productive growth occurs and that Kenyan economy is progressively transformed into a knowledge-based economy. Universities are critical drivers of innovative systems, and the resultant developments in application of knowledge, especially in biotechnology, value addition, manufacturing, ICT, that lead to industrial and entrepreneurial development. By establishing the Graduate Enterprise Academy, whose mandate is to nurture development of ideas into commercial products and services, Mount Kenya University has set the ball rolling in this region and in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, I know that many of you, to graduate today, you sat for many exams, there were many cuts, and I know that for you to be here, dressed in your gowns, you satisfied your examiners. But if you don't mind, I have a little cut. I don't know if you'll allow me. This is going to be the last one you do before you leave here. Maswali kidogo tu, mutaniruhusu niwaulize. Just a small exam, eh? Okay, there are a few questions I just want to hear from you, and I want to hear your answer Okay, twende sasa. Name the nation with the fastest growing economy in Africa. Which nation in Africa is the world's third fastest growing economy according to Bloomberg and the East Africa's economic powerhouse? Which is the third most improved nation as far as ease of doing business is concerned according to Forbes? Which African nation played host to both the Pope and the President of the United States, Obama, in the same year? That was easy. Which country emerged the world champion in athletics in Beijing 2015? Which African country will for the first time host the Tokyo International Conference Development, TICAD, outside Tokyo, Japan, on African soil for the first time? Which African country will for the first time be hosting WTO? Which African country was the first to host the Global Entrepreneurship Summit opened by President Obama, who referred to it as the Center for Innovation and Entrepreneurship in Africa? Which country has the largest economy in East Africa and the gateway to sub-Saharan Africa and accounts for 40% of East Africa's GDP? Which country in Africa was honored by the United Nations to co-chair the Special Committee on SDGs in New York? This is the last one, Musichoke. Which is the most improved country in East Africa in good governance according to Mo Ibrahim's Index of African Governance? Now, if you have answered all those questions, the last question I'm going to ask you, do you believe in the concept of Africa rising? Now, if you have answered all those questions that it is Kenya, 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 can you tell me, if Africa is rising, which country is the rising star of Africa? Hiyo mmepata, and may I say, having satisfied the examiner, I hereby award you and all that pertains to that. Well, I'm asking you this because I've been in Europe a few days, and the world is looking differently at Africa that is more confident, that is the next frontier for investment. And it is not by mistake that the leader of the free world, the leader of the only superpower, came to Kenya. It is not by mistake that we had the representative of St. Peter himself on earth, the Pope, came to Kenya. It's not by mistake that the whole world is coming to Kenya. And when I was in the UK, I was told even their Prime Minister, David Cameron, cannot wait to finish Christmas to visit Kenya. There must be something about you, Kenya, and you people in Kenya. But the world is looking at you very differently. It's looking at you as the rising star of Africa. Why can't you look at yourself differently? I think as you go out, I just want to provoke your thinking, because the mistake that we have made all along is to dwell more on what divides us than on what unites us. We dwell so much on what is negative in Kenya instead of what is positive about Kenya. We put too much energy in bringing out the worst in us rather than the best in us. And you, going out, the 6,000 of you, can change that narrative by saying there's more to Kenya than just the negatives. That is the challenge I want to give you today as you graduate. Ladies and gentlemen, the state under Article 55 of the Constitution is required to take measures, including affirmative action programs, to ensure the youth participate meaningfully in the socio-economic and other spheres of its national life. Pursuant to this, I want to assure you that the government has put in place policies to enable you access opportunities as you leave the gates of this campus. Ladies and gentlemen, as you graduate and leave the gates of this university, we also want to prepare you for what is out there. Kenya, as I have said, is full of great promise as a country for you and generations to come. The government continues to generate policies that will generate more opportunities for you as you leave this campus, not just for the youth, but for the women of Kenya as well, and for persons with disabilities and all those who have been marginalized. One way of doing this has been the amendment of the Public Procurement Act that now provides room for 30% preferential procurement for youth, women, and marginalized groups. This translates into over 200 billion worth of business through public procurement that has been set aside for your uptake into business. However, I must also say that the uptake has been very low so far, and I want to encourage you as you leave this campus, as you graduate today, to go out and seize this opportunity. It's time Mount Kenya University and your generation gave birth to more entrepreneurs such as Joseph and Florence that we have seen here, the alumni of this great university, who have become, as they left this campus, not job seekers, but job creators. You can do the same as well. Apart from the Procurement Act, we have also made changes to many laws that would make it difficult for you as you leave campus to start a business, to register a company or a partnership through the amendment of the Companies Act. And as you leave now, it will be easier, and it will take a shorter time for you to register your own company, as Joseph and Florence did, to be able to start your own business. The government will continue to increase also its budgetary allocation to help and towards funding higher education to enable students, both in public and private institutions, to continue accessing funds and scholarships for higher education. So it will no longer just be that help will be available for public universities only, but also promote education in private universities. Help will be available to all, and these are some of the changes that we are making to create great opportunities for all of you to realize your God-given potential. Ladies and gentlemen, as you leave this university, you will also be joining the job market, but there aren't many jobs out there, as I've said. I think the issue is really to look at entrepreneurship and to seize the opportunities that are out there, because with the East African community and the treaties that have been signed, you will be entering a larger market in East Africa of over 140 million consumers. And recently also, with the signing of other protocols, the free trade agreements in June 2015, we are also looking at the COMESA and the SADC agreements that will give you a market of over 600 million people, not just in East Africa, but in the COMESA and the SADC region. So there's a huge market out there as you go out. You have to be ready to compete, but the opportunities are out there. As you leave this campus also, what is happening out there is very significant in your lives, because you're graduating on a year when the world is transiting from MDGs to SDGs. You are also expected, as we fight for the realization of our Vision 2030 by 2030 and SDGs by the same date, to play your role to ensure realization of this, as well as realization of Africa's Vision 2063, because you are the generation that will be there to ensure realization of this, to make Kenya, to make East Africa, and to make the world a better place. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not to say that Kenya is without challenges, because the challenges of our founding fathers, of poverty, disease, and ignorance are still the challenges of our time. Even as Kenyans, as we have worked together in common strive to confront these enemies, we have not fully succeeded. But on the horizon also, new enemies have arisen, and you are looking at the issue of corruption that the chairman has talked about, and lack of integrity in the management of our public affairs, the issue of tribalism, the issue of terrorism and radicalization of our young people. These are real serious challenges. These are challenges that President Obama, when he came to Kenya, took time to talk to the young people of this country. And he said to you that you are responsible for the greatness of this country. You can change this country, but not with tribalism in your hearts and minds, nor with hatred or divisions. When the Pope came to Kasarani also, he set aside a whole day for the young people of this country. And he asked you to hold hands and unite against corruption and tribalism. But he also challenged you that you can be able to overcome your challenges. But also, your challenges can overcome you. The choice is yours. I have also repeatedly said that what has stood in the way of the Kenyan dream is really the issue of corruption and tribalism, as the chairman has said. It is what has made Kenya, which was at par with other countries like Malaysia, like Singapore, like South Korea, in terms of a GDP at independence. But Kenya has been left behind because of what has slowed us down, the corruption that has eaten away our fabric, social fabric, and slowed us down. The GDP of these countries that were at par with us now are over 40 times bigger than ours. So you, the generation that graduates today, that goes out and is untainted by this virus, you are Kenya's best hope. If you can embrace the values that you have sung to us in your anthem, if you can choose a life of integrity as you go out there. You had your colleagues, the first group that entertained us, talk about the challenges when you go seeking for jobs and you be asked which tribe you come from or which region. That should not be the basis upon which you should be employed. We should look at your qualifications, not your second name or the region you come from. But as you go out there, these are issues you are going to be confronting, and there are issues you can say no to. Even as you get opportunities in procurement, there are those who will be out there to say, no, this is not how business is done. If you are going to get this business, if you are going to get this tender, as your colleagues said while entertaining us today, then you must give us 10% or toa kitu kidogo. If you do that, you will be perpetuating what has been there. But if you say no, we can end this corruption, we can change this country, and you are Kenya's best hope. And as you go out, may the good Lord give you the courage and the strength to succeed in all your endeavors. And may you always remember the words of Prophet Isaiah, that even the youth can be weary and can tire. Even the young ones can stumble and fall. But they that wait upon the Lord will renew their strength. They shall soar like wings of eagles. They shall run and not faint. They shall walk and not tire. May the good Lord give you the strength. May the good Lord bless you and your families as you go out. And may you have a good Jamhuri Day tomorrow and a Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year. Thank you and God bless.
Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to invite the Chancellor of the University, Professor Victoria, to address the congregation.
Good afternoon to everyone assembled. To be brief, all protocols observed. I am very thrilled to be here in this honorable company. Ladies and gentlemen, my address is titled The Indispensable Role of Partnerships in National and Regional Development for Quality Enhancement. As Mheshimiwa just said, we are aware that the Millennium Development Goals, which end this year, emphasized the need for partnerships. As we leap from these goals to the Sustainable Development Goals, I appreciate and congratulate Mount Kenya University's management and students and faculty for all of our outstanding efforts to enhance partnerships. These help not only our institution, but also our society, from the Wananchi in the rural villages to President Uhuru Kenyatta himself. Mount Kenya University's partnerships reach into academia, industry and commerce, agriculture, social services, and the government. In academia, we are developing partnerships with universities in the United States, Denmark, UK, Germany, and many others. In industry, we are working with banks, law firms, hospitals, ICT enterprises, and others. In addition to academia and industry, we have partnered with private, nonprofit, and governmental institutions to support our communities. Mount Kenya University, in partnership, has done such activities as provide clean and safe drinking water in Turkana, prevent HIV/AIDS in Kuria, educate the girl child in Rwanda, and right here in Thika, working with Thika Level 5 to develop a state-of-the-art mortuary for all of us and as an anatomy lab for our School of Medicine. I congratulate all of us because these things are leading us to scale the heights of education. And we are doing this in partnership to educate students from Garissa and from Kisii, from Mombasa and Kakamega, to Rwanda and the Republic of Somaliland, of which we have a wonderful representation here, and beyond, not just through virtual education, but through on-the-ground education. I want to promise that I will do all in my power to forge more and better and stronger partnerships for Mount Kenya University. May each of you have a joyful Jamhuri Day, a Merry Christmas, and a marvelous 2016. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam Chancellor. Ladies and gentlemen, at this particular time, I would like to invite Dr. Vincent Gaido, Vice Chairman, University Council, who will invite Professor Grace Njoroge to make remarks and also to allow us take about 2 minutes for the launch of the strategic plan. I'll request all the graduates to remain seated as we're just about to finish. Thank you and welcome, Dr. Gaido.
Okay, thank you very much. As it has been mentioned, we have a brief ceremony of launching our strategic plan, and it is my humble privilege to invite the chair of Mount Kenya University Council, Professor Grace Njoroge, to make highlights of the Mount Kenya University 2015-2019 strategic plan. Professor Grace.
Our chief guest, all protocols observed, allow me to make just 3 remarks as we launch the new Mount Kenya University Strategic Plan 2015-2019. And my first remark is that initially this university had a 10-year strategic plan running from 2008 to 2018, but arising from the great leadership that this university has, diligent staff, we exceeded or surpassed the targets, and by 2014, which was almost half the plan period, those targets were achieved. I want to mention that the 2015-2019 strategic plan was developed through a very broad stakeholder participation, including the University Council itself, and will be guided by 3 major areas. 1, continuous assembly and consolidation of academic resources. 2, redefining the university strategy for responding to the Constitution of Kenya 2010, the Universities Act 2012, which was revised again in 2014, and the provisions of the Kenya Vision 2030. 3rd, the development of competitive advantages for the growth and sustainability of the university. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2015-2019 Mount Kenya University Strategic Plan is anchored on 5 pillars of excellency. 1, quality teaching and learning. 2, research and innovation. 3, infrastructure development. 4, staff and student welfare. And 5, community outreach and institutional capacity. This plan will be cascaded all the way from top governance, all the way to schools, institutes, directorates, and onto the departments. I wish to conclude by assuring the university management that the council is committed to support the implementation of this plan, and wish to thank you very much for what you have done so far, and look forward to greater performance within this plan period. It is my great honor this afternoon to kindly invite our chief guest, the Honorable Eugene Wamalwa, accompanied by the Chairman, Board of Trustees, the Chancellor, the Vice Chancellor, the guest speaker, and the Deputy Vice Chancellor, the Association, Student Association President and Vice President, as well as Mr. and Miss Mount Kenya University, to just proceed to my far right for the launch of the Mount Kenya 2015-2019 strategic plan. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vice Chair, University Council. Ladies and gentlemen, that process will take less than 5 minutes. We want you to give them a big round of applause. I know we're almost winding up. Thank you. They're now proceeding. The chief guest, together with the Chairman BOT. Okay, they're now cutting the tape to officially launch the university strategic plan. Let's give them a big round of applause. I'm certainly sure that there is a cake, a 6-tier cake that represents the 60,000 graduates that we have channeled to this community and beyond. Let's give them another big round of applause as they proceed on. We appreciate what the university is doing. Thank you. They're now cutting the cake. But I want to believe that we will share the cake after the graduation ceremony. So I request all the graduates to remain seated until then. Thank you. Thank you. That's part of the celebration. Let's just applaud it. It's part of the celebration, nothing more. Thank you so much. The cake is cut and it is shared now. They're handing over the strategic plan document. Thank you so much. The university band, as they proceed back to their seats. The strategic plan document has been given to the Vice Chancellor. We welcome back all our guests back to take their seats and proceed. For all our graduates, this is now a very important moment for you, and we kindly request you to remain seated as we are going to award the degrees, diplomas. Please kindly remain seated until the end of the program. Welcome back, Chief Guest. Supported by Vice Chancellor Professor Stanley Waudo, the Chairman BOT, Dr. Simon Gisharu, the University Chancellor Professor Victoria Wilson. Madam Chair, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for that wonderful activity.
Ladies and gentlemen, the great hour has come. It is now time for the acting Deputy Vice Chancellor, Academic and Research Affairs, Madam Vivian Waiganjo, to call upon deans of various schools to present respective candidates for the conferment of degrees and award of diplomas and certificates of Mount Kenya University.
Madam Chancellor, allow me to invite deans of schools to present candidates who have satisfied Mount Kenya University Board of Examiner for conferment of degrees, award of diplomas and certificate in the following order. For the PhD, we'll have the Dean School of Nursing, followed by Dean School of Business and Economics, and then the Dean School of Education. For the master's candidate, we'll have the Dean School of Nursing, Dean School of Public Health, Dean School of Health Sciences, Dean School of Pure and Applied Sciences, Dean School of Social Science, Dean School of Business and Economics, and Dean School of Education. The Dean School of Education will also call upon the Diploma in Education candidates. Then for Bachelor's Diploma and Certificate, they'll be called in the following order: Dean School of Law, Dean School of Pharmacy, Dean School of Nursing, Dean School of Clinical Medicine, Dean School of Public Health, Dean School of Health Sciences, Dean School of Engineering, Energy and Built Environment, Dean School of Pure and Applied Sciences, Dean School of Social Sciences, Dean School of Hospitality, Travel and Tourism Management, Dean School of Business and Economics, and finally, Dean School of Education. Dean School of Nursing.
Madam Chancellor, I have the honor of presenting to you Madam Lucy Mumbi Wawelo on page 19 of graduation booklet, who has satisfied the University Board of Examiners for the conferment of Doctor of Philosophy in Nursing Education from the School of Nursing. The candidate's thesis is titled Comparative Evaluation of Core Nursing Competencies of Kenya Registered Community Health Nurses and the Kenya Registered Nurse Graduates. Her supervisors were Dr. Peter Kabanya Mwaneki and Dr. Timothy Abuye. With your permission, Madam, I call upon the candidate to start and be escorted to the dais by her supervisors for crowning and conferment of the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Nursing of Mount Kenya University.
In accordance with the provisions of the Mount Kenya University Charter, 2011, Part 2, Section 6B, and you having fulfilled all the necessary academic requirements, I do hereby admit you to the Doctor of Philosophy in Nursing, Nursing Education in the School of Nursing, and by my authority and that of the entire university, give you the power to read and to do all that appertain to the degree.
All protocol observed, Madam Chancellor. I have the honor of presenting to you Mr. Guyo Sal Huka, who has satisfied the University Board of Examiners for the conferment of Doctor of Philosophy in Business Administration, Human Resource Management from the School of Business and Economics. The candidate's thesis is titled Effects of Systematic Training Cycle on Business Competencies of the Trainees in Marsabit County, Kenya. His supervisors were Professor Bernard Jehia and Professor Zakaria K. Mbogwa. With your permission, Madam, I call upon the candidate to stand and be escorted to the dais by his supervisors for crowning and conferment of the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Business of Mount Kenya University.
In accordance with the provisions of the Mount Kenya University Charter 2011, Part 2, Section 6B, and you having fulfilled all the necessary academic requirements, I do hereby admit you to the Doctor of Philosophy in Business Administration, Human Resource Management in the School of Business and Economics. And by my authority and that of the entire university, give you the power to read and to do all that appertain to the degree.
I have the honor of presenting to you Mr. Mohammed Shano, who has satisfied the University Board of Examiners for the conferment of Doctor of Philosophy in Finance from the School of Business and Economics. The candidate's thesis is titled, Evaluation of the Factors that Affect the Performance of Equity and Blended Funds in Kenya. His supervisors were Professor Muroki Maura and Professor Ganesh Pokalial. With your permission, Madam, I call upon the candidate to stand and be escorted to the dais by his supervisors for crowning and conferment of the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Business Administration Finance of Mount Kenya University.
In accordance with the provisions of the Mount Kenya University Charter 2011, Part 2, Section 6B, and you having fulfilled all the necessary academic requirements, I do hereby admit you to the Doctor of Philosophy in Business, Finance, in the School of Business and Economics, and by my authority and that of the entire university, give you the power to read and to do all that appertain to the degree.
Madam Chancellor, I have the honor of presenting to you Madam Anne Wanjiko Moiro, who has satisfied the University Board of Examiners for the conferment of Doctor of Philosophy in Education from the School of Education. The candidate's thesis is titled, An Assessment of Psychosocial Factors on Suicide Ideation and Attempts Among Public Secondary School Students in Murang'a County, Kenya. Her supervisors were Dr. Susan Macharia and Dr. Ruth Thingori. With your permission, Madam, I call upon the candidate to stand and be escorted to the dais by her supervisors for crowning and conferment of the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Education of Mount Kenya University.
In accordance with the provisions of the Mount Kenya University Charter 2011, Part 2, Section 6B, and you having fulfilled all the necessary academic requirements, I do hereby admit you to the Doctor of Philosophy in Education in the School of Education, and by my authority and that of the entire university, give you the power to read and to do all that appertain to the degree.
Madam Chancellor, I have the honor of presenting to you Mr. Boniface Njuguna Mwangi, who has satisfied the University Board of Examiners for the conferment of Doctor of Philosophy in Education from the School of Education. The candidate's thesis is titled, External Supervision of Schools, an examination of its impact on quality of education in secondary schools in Kajiado North Sub-County, Kenya. His supervisors were Professor Chega Mungai and Dr. Maurice Makatiani. With your permission, Madam, I call upon the candidate to stand and be escorted to the dais by his supervisors for crowning and conferment of the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Education of Mount Kenya University.
In accordance with the provisions of the Mount Kenya University Charter 2011, Part 2, Section 6B, and you having fulfilled all the necessary academic requirements, I do hereby admit you to the Doctor of Philosophy in Education in the School of Education, and by my authority and that of the entire university, give you the power to read and to do all that appertain to the degree.
Madam Chancellor, I have the honor of presenting to you a total of 3 candidates listed on page 19 of the graduation booklet, starting from Baranga Alice Kemunto and ending with Joseph Gotiko Morethi, who has certified the Board of Examiners for the conferment of the degrees of Master of Nursing from the School of Nursing. With your permission, Madam, I call upon the candidates to start and wait for the conferment of the degrees of Mount Kenya University.
Madam Chancellor, I have the honor of presenting to you a total of 3 candidates listed on page 19 of the graduation booklet, starting with Kiarie Mwangi and ending with Matthew College Eboy, who have certified the University Board of Examiners for the conferment of the degrees of Master of Public Health from the School of Public Health. With your permission, Madam, I call upon the candidates to stand and wait for the conferment of the degree of Mount Kenya University.
Madam Chancellor, I have the honor of presenting to you one candidate listed on page 19 of the graduation booklet who have certified University Board of Examiners for the conferment of the degree of Master of Science in Medical Laboratory Sciences, Histology and Cytology from the School of Health Sciences. With your permission, Madam, I call upon the candidate to stand and wait for the conferment of the degree of Mount Kenya University.
Madam Chancellor, I have the honor of presenting to you a total of 7 candidates listed on page 20 of the graduation booklet, starting from Jackie Sibomana and ending with Sesazi Alfred, who have satisfied the University Board of Examiners for the conferment of Master of Science in Information Science, Information Communication Technology option from the School of Pure and Applied Sciences. With your permission, Madam, I call upon the candidates to stand and wait for the conferment of the degree of Mount Kenya University.
Madam Chancellor, I have the honor of presenting to you a total of 24 candidates listed on page 20 of the graduation booklet, starting from Edna Toet and ending with the Mukuru Alfred, who have satisfied the University Board of Examiners for the conferment of Master of Arts in Counseling Psychology, Master of Arts in Religious Studies, Master of Arts in Governance and Ethics, Master of Arts in History, Master of Arts in Kiswahili, Master of Arts in Geography, Master of Arts in English Literature, Master of Arts in English Language and Linguistics, Master of Arts in International Relations and Diplomacy, and Master of Arts in Development Studies, respectively, from the School of the Social Sciences. With your permission, Madam Chancellor, I call upon the candidates to stand and wait for the conferment of the degrees of Mount Kenya University.
Madam Chancellor, I have the honor of presenting to you a total of 113 candidates listed on page 21 and 22 of the graduation booklet, starting from Abdulrahman Aden and ending with Sabiti James, who have satisfied the University Board of Examiners for the conferment of the degree of Master of Business Administration, Master of Public Administration and Management, Master of Science in Procurement and Supplies Management, an International Executive Master of Business Administration, Strategic Management option, respectively, from the School of Business and Economics. With your permission, Madam, I call upon the candidates to stand and wait for the conferment of the degree of Mount Kenya University.
Madam Chancellor, I have the honor of presenting to you a total of 107 candidates listed on page 23 and 24 of the graduation booklet, starting from Kuria Mbogwa Stephen and ending with Muthio Musio